And
Yeah.
so that's new. You know,
That's
every
new.
51 years, you got to change it up.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Well, look at you go. Well, listen, I'm excited to get. So we won't need the whole hour. And thank you for a little bit of lead time. I actually was at a lunch meeting with a potential advisor here in Winnipeg that used to work for CIBC years ago. He's been hearing more about it, wanted to know more, and I said, okay. He brought an associate with him, so we kind of teed things up. He's looking out into February, and he had just been in Calgary, and a colleague or somebody that he knows in this space just ran some things, ran some seminars, and was quite happy. So he sent me a note, says, Colin, we got to talk seminars. So he said, I want to buy you lunch. I said, well, I won't turn down lunch. But anyway, so, well, let's talk about yours. I've got a form here that IG always wants us to submit after each seminar. So I'll walk you through that just on some of the statistics. But I want to start with, talk about your experience. You know, I was introduced to you by Gaetano. You and I started to engage. We had many conversations, getting it ready, launching it throughout the campaign, having it, the pre-brief, now the post-brief, your seminar. So just talk a little bit about your experience with Gustin Quon, myself included, and the firm, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. The only hiccup we had really was that the renaming of the Algonquin of that one ad or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
We had to strike Algonquin from it.
Yeah.
So whatever, you figure you learn these things as you go. Algonquin, by the way, never got back to, after we submitted the change, they never even confirmed it was good. They just, you know, and everything else has been fine. Like the support from Cami and the billing people, whatever, that was all fine. The room was good. I think you had some good suggestions going in. I've got them written down here somewhere. And I incorporated some others. The ones I felt I could make mine, I incorporated. Let's just put it that way.
Perfect.
Yeah. I will have to, I use two different closes.
Okay.
There's no, I don't, one was kind of a hard ass close and one was a little softer.
Okay.
In terms of, you know, the hard ass one was kind of referencing without actually explicitly saying it. Here's something you can, by the way, pass on to other people if they're uncomfortable stating a minimum, right? But at the same time want to say there's a minimum. All you have to do is say, like, you know, if you're, you know, the advisor when doing the pitch said, yes, there is a minimum. There will be a minimum. It's a question we often get. I can't tell you here because it's a public environment, and you know, if you're here because one of your friends who's a client told you to come, you know, you'll know at least how much money they got, right? And so we just have to be really careful about that kind of thing, right? Okay. So that's kind of a dodge for that. But in any case, the point is, the morning seminar, I did pretty much, yep, I'll call you during the day, meetings are during the day, there's a minimum, you know, like all that kind of setting expectations, I guess. The afternoon was more just talking fit without, and hoping that people would understand fit would be code for assets or money or whatever, among other things. And I gotta say, a couple of the calls from the morning made me think, I think there's a sweet spot in between the two.
Okay.
Because we got meetings from books from both, and but the data isn't, you know, one round isn't enough to really give you hard numbers. But just based on some of the calls, there were people who were like, boy, I hope, from the morning, who were like, boy, I hope I got enough, you know, like I really, right? So it was kind of tantalizing in a way. And a couple of the afternoon ones were a little bit more, I'm trying to push them away, you know? So, but at the same time, it's a fine line, right? So that's the one kind of learning thing, or I'll be interested to Paul about it, because I mean, for millionaires, right? He's running a couple coming up in the new year. And are you his handler, by the way, or someone else? Guys work.
That's the question you got?
No. I'm asking you,
Oh,
just straight up. It just occurred to me. Are you Paul's contact with Gustin Quon?
Paul.
Biancourt.
Oh, yeah. I'm working with Paul as well, or will be.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
good. Yeah, I think he's got a couple. He said coming up in the new year.
Well, yeah,
But
because
in any case,
you guys are all part of Gaetano, right?
right.
Yeah. So when that was the first RD that I was given, so I reached out to all of you. You were the first out of the gate. Or actually, no, sorry, Lisa was.
Yeah.
Lisa was, but Lisa wasn't the first as far as eager. She finally went ahead because of the way she had some holidays. She went up first, but you were the first to engage.
Right. Understood. So it'll be interesting what Paul does in his close because he's looking for millionaires.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay.
He's looking for bigger money. Now, there's been a recent change in our compensation structure that may make him want to bring in the some smaller people on kind of a temporary basis, let's say. But anyway, you don't tell him I told you that.
No,
Anyhow, but the point is he's looking for bigger numbers. So it would be really interesting to see or hear his close. So I think I'll ask him about that.
okay.
And I would just modify it. If his number's a million, what does he say? And how would I modify that if my number's 250? Right. So if his number's a million, maybe he asks for two.
Yeah.
I don't know, or maybe whatever. Who knows? Like anyway. I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got the stats are that might be one of your questions.
Yeah.
The stats
Hold on a second. So okay, let's. I just got this form in the background. So yes, what were your number of registered units attending the first seminar? Spouses excluded.
Right. So what excluded?
Spouses excluded.
Okay, well, let's just call it buying units.
Oh, fine. Now, buying units. Let's go with that. Got it.
As near as we can guess, we are 26 and 27.
26.
But that
go ahead.
That includes a couple of walk-ins.
Okay.
So unregistered.
Okay. So now when you say 26, 27, 26 buying units for the morning, 27 for the afternoon?
Correct.
Thank you.
And if you add spouses.
Add the spouses in the morning for me, please.
I think it was about, in each case, I think we had about 40 people. So
14 and 13.
We would add like 12 to 14 spouses in the morning and 12 to 14 spouses in the afternoon.
Okay, I got that. That's good.
Right.
Okay.
So our capacity was 48, and in each case there were a few empty seats, but the room was more full than empty by far.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so 40. All right. So then, of these two, how many completed the feedback form in the morning one?
Okay, this may not be broken up into. So Colette has some of the stuff at work, but hang on a sec here. All right, I think. By complete, my definition for complete is ticking the box that says they want a meeting.
Okay, so let me work.
Is that fair?
Let me work this backward. How many requested consultations in the morning?
Or from the morning seminar.
Yeah, how many requested consultations?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hang on. Oh, I did code it. Okay, we're good. One. Right. Shoot morning. Oh, by the way, of the family groups in the afternoon, you might want to strike one of those because it was an IG client.
Okay, so I'll drop it to 26.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so let me check that one. All right, so hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to go with 7 because 1 was sort of ambiguous and continued to be ambiguous on the phone. That's from the afternoon. Forgive me. That's the afternoon.
Okay.
Hope you're writing in pencil, Ken. My mistake.
No,
and then in the morning was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, you didn't have to erase both 7.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. All right. So that is good. Now, another question I want to ask you on your feedback form, you have a line in there that talks about asset levels. Did people complete that? Sometimes. Okay.
Would you like these? I'll tell you how many.
Yeah. So just give me, I'm going to go to this form. So, all in, you give me the brackets. Never mind separating it. Just give me all in.
Yeah.
You tell me what level.
6 out of 7 in the morning.
Oh yeah, okay, but what can you tell me what category they checked? 100 to 250, 250 to 500. Did they do that?
Yeah. So when you said all in, I just meant.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a check mark somewhere in the range.
Yeah. Okay. So
would you like to know?
If you take
more detail.
Morning and afternoon. Let's start with the first level. Morning and afternoon. How many indicated they were 100 or less?
Okay. In the morning, under 100. 1, 2, 2.
Okay.
And then 100 to 250 in the morning. Or wait a minute, you wanted morning and afternoon in that?
Well, if you're doing it that way, we've got to separate. I'm writing it down. I'll add it up. But go ahead, continue what you're doing. Morning.
Just morning. Just morning.
Yep.
Was 2. 100 to 250.
Yep.
1.
Okay.
I don't need to look at that. And 1 at 500 to 1 million, and 1 to 1 million to 3 million. Wow. And then the rest are blank. But actually, I can say on the phone, even the blank ones, I would say would be less than 100.
Okay.
Okay, I was kind of established that on the phone.
Okay, so give me the afternoon starting on the lowest level.
Okay, will do. Pardon me just a moment. The afternoon on the lowest level was. One. The next level which is 100 to 250. Is 1. The next level, which is 250 to 500, is 1. Okay, I already did that. And we have 3 rather, 500 to 1,000,000, and 1,000,000. But it's very faint. I'm not sure if they were thinking about writing it down and chickened out. Anyway, I got 3 in the 5 to 1.
Okay.
Range. And 1, I think 1 is in the million range, and then the rest don't score.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I know it's it's on your form. I'll be honest. I look at that as that's somewhat personal. Some people are okay with putting it. Some other people may not be okay with putting it. This is information you'll find out in some of the ones that didn't request, or that requested but didn't indicate it. And you may find out that they indicated a low number, but when you meet with them, it might be higher because they didn't feel that information was relevant before meeting you. But you've been doing this long enough to know that sometimes people don't show all their cards, right?
Yep.
I
totally redid the form, by the way.
Oh, you did, eh?
Yeah. The part in the middle, I found the following topics interesting. The one in the kit, I didn't think was relevant to the seminar in a box. So what I did is I just kind of took titles or themes or whatever right out of the seminar in a box and then just put them there. Did you find that slide or that theme or whatever those words that I said interesting?
Good.
Versus I found estate planning interesting and we didn't really talk about it much in that, or we didn't, you know what I mean? Or it's like there's one lip service slide to it.
Okay.
So I put in stuff that was they would definitely recall.
Okay.
Because I emphasized it.
Okay.
Right?
Now, awesome. So, thanks for your feedback. Anything more specific to us and your partner in all of this? What did we do well? What could we do differently? Because that's important to me in representing the firm, and to me personally.
Yeah.
If there's something.
I wanted to even go. So, to what extent can you customize?
Okay.
Right. So first of all, back in the old days, we papered the streets with flyers, and this is vastly preferred. Okay. Somebody fill in a room for us. Fantastic. So that's great. And you guys, the data was great. Being able, your numbers, it was good to know your numbers were, pretty close. We're a little under, we cut off the seminar at some point, and we were, we cut off on the assumption of I forget, I think a 45%, whatever it was, it would have worked out to exactly 48 almost, right? And we got 40. Oh, perfect, fine. That's good. Like there's going to be a swing, right?
Yep.
So that was good. So I was impressed by that. And now going forward, like one of the things I wanted to ask you, and for 2 things. Number one, I'd like to keep this confidential, even from my own company, right? But you can write on the form for the purposes of IG, and just say, Mark is expressing interest in targeting a particular type of professional.
Okay.
without having, but you don't need to say anything beyond that to them, right? Whether it's doctors or engineers or this or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. And one thing I did, and it occurred to me in the afternoon. So you should do this, I think, for all your seminars,
Okay.
or not. You shouldn't do, but maybe in part of your pre-call.
Okay.
The thing we did last Thursday or whenever it was.
Go ahead.
Suggest to people that, if you're not going to fill out the form, can you at least fill out? If you're not going to put any personal data, you're not going to take the meeting. Can you at least fill out the sort of the real estate code name, the unofficial name of the area of the town you're from, right? I'll give you some Ottawa examples. Barhaven, Stonebridge, the Glebe, Vanier South, Old Ottawa South, Carlingwood, whatever, right? At least, and I said to people, at least this, because here we are, we're at Algonquin's, lovely and everything, but if I find out all of you folks were, within 5 minutes of here, if I want to meet people throughout the city, then that means I got to move this venue from time to time, right? On the other hand, if I'm drawing from Stittsville to Orleans, I've got the perfect spot. So please help me out with this.
Okay.
And they did in the afternoon seminar. And so we got, it was actually spread out around the city.
Okay.
Like we had people that must have driven, a good 25 minutes to get there from either direction.
Okay.
And the east, west, and south, we had coverage. And so that was useful to know. It makes me, I can find that Canada location, for example. Would I be Canada centric, right? Which is not a bad thing for my target market.
Right.
Okay. Because I'm looking high tech engineers.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
that early.
Yeah. So that's my next comment going forward is it possible to tune this thing? So that I get, and I actually wouldn't mind. It's kind of hard when you look out at the crowd to know the exact average age, but I'm thinking I had people 5 years pre and 5 years post retirement with an average bang on retirement. I'd like to drop that by 5 years.
Yeah.
I'd like to get people who've got 10 years, they've paid off their mortgage and they've got 10 years of heavy catch-up savings to do. So I bring in a high-tech engineer who's got 400 grand. That's a good client for me. And it's a husband and wife, and they both work professionally. And so between RSPs and TFSAs, I'm getting 70 grand a year out of them. On January 1st, I know for that family, I got 70 grand. And then I'd like another 100 families like that, right? So I've got 7 million January 1st. I know my year is going to be 7 million at least, right? That's the client I want.
Okay.
So to what extent can you tune this for me, right? I don't want to have conversations with people who, the ones I don't want are, government retirees who don't have money, but they've got pensions and they want to know how they should tweak their old age security, take it at 67 or 65, right? It's boring, right? It's not, these are bad people, but they're not going to make me money and it's boring. People who need to save are a lot more, I offer a lot more value. And I would rather have, I would take, a $500,000 saver who's got 10 years to go over 750, 800 any day, right? But maybe most people would, but I really would.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'd probably take it over $1 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Coming from that space, when you and I first met and I told you what I did, I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I know exactly. You want to grow with this client and you're kind of going, and each year, I look at the team that I ran. I mean, they could tell me just what you did. They got these stats. They know this happens January 1 and they're filling out their marketing plan or their, we called it the annual portfolio planning. And they'd have that column about what they knew was going to land because they had the 50 of those that are doing this each January. And they say, that leaves me with, I got to find this to make, to close the gap. but this is pretty much
Right.
notwithstanding that one of those leave and they have to replace it, but they pretty much knew what was coming in at the beginning of each and every year. So to your question, yes, we can tweak it. It's interesting, not only you, your IG colleagues, other advisors that I'm speaking to across North America are, they run their first seminar, they see what we're able to do, and they start thinking, I wonder if, how about this? I'm looking for this. So yes, we can. Working with a client in Houston. She's pretty knowledgeable in this area of digital marketing. I won't say she's an expert. She's just done some homework. Has hired another company that didn't do what they said that they were going to do, is willing to listen to us. We do things differently according to her, but she's also talking about dropping an age, right? We can do that. So we can do those kinds of things. My only thing is, and this will be between us, is under this, and I don't know what's at the top of the house. I know you're all independent. You fly under the IG brand, but at the end of the day, you are a commissioned individual doing your thing with the IG logo.
Right.
You want to write a check out of your pocket to have a dinner with and say thank you to clients. Great. You want to do it? It's you. I have some friends that are IG advisors. I know it's different than bank. I couldn't do this with an advisor at CIBC. Number one, they don't have the money. Number two, their manager doesn't have the money. And number three, their regional VP, whatever they're called, they probably wouldn't have the money, because how can they just focus on one branch? They'd want to do it for more, and they don't have that kind of money. So I get that. But what I'd want to do is I certainly would want to circle back to David Quon, one of our founding partners, who was at the table locally and nationally on what this means and what has to continue, going under IG, or can something have a spinoff? I certainly would ask that as a general question, not Mark asked me if he could. Right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I hope you understand that. And again, I just don't know how they've locked up the advisors. I mean, they know they're a company that has all these, if you will, independent contractors that are out there doing their thing to generate business. A very close friend, a dear friend of mine here locally, I attended a Circle of Influence. He was a DD. I attended a Circle of Influence event he had at a high-end restaurant. He told me how much that cost. That was a lot of money. He could have run a seminar for that. This is before I was in this business. And I know over the course of last winter, he had to cancel 2 that didn't have enough people to attend. But he was doing his thing. And I understand that. I just want to make sure that, if you and I are going to go take a 90-degree turn and do something more specific to you, I just want to make sure that it is blessed, that you and I don't get ourselves in hawk because they've...
No.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it. But
yeah, if you can, that'd be good. Because like you said, like I was saying, what I would do is I would drop the age a tad somehow. And I would try to pull... I guess the easiest thing to do would be just, the key words would be high tech and engineer.
Yep.
High tech engineer, computer scientist, software developer, whatever. If from the Facebook metadata, you can target somebody who has, like I don't know, maybe sometimes people put their work titles in, right? Like, I don't know how this works, but let's say that there's metadata that says, so and so is an engineer at Cisco in town, or they're a software developer at Apple or whatever, and those people, and if they're searching for retirement stuff or investment stuff or whatever, I want those people targeted for me specifically, because that's my market. That I've got the physics degree, I've got the engineering masters, I've got those are the people. I understand what RSUs and stock options and whatnot and all these firms are, and I understand the risk that these people take with their careers when they jump to a startup, all that kind of stuff. And I actually, that's part of my opening spiel, right? I talked about my story, getting into the business, coming from there.
Perfect.
So, and there are a few heads nodding in the room. Like, so I know I've got some hooks into some people when I do that.
Okay.
So if I had a room full like that, that'd be spectacular.
So the other thing we can do, notwithstanding the metadata targeting a different age, we can absolutely do that. Our current targeting goes 45 to 65. So when you said kind of, what you gave me.
Well, that's interesting. That's bang on in a way, right? The average there being 55.
Like we started at 45.
Maybe it should be 45 to 60.
Okay. I'm just
I don't know that for sure, but that I suspect is an easy change. Like, I don't think you need to go upstairs for that one.
No, that we can do. The other thing that we can do, Mark, is you saw a copy of your landing page. We can use that landing page to speak to the high tech, the engineer, and what are the things that they're facing. I mean, I would work with the local advisor like I've done in the past, where there's an event, a company closing down, laying people off. In your case, Ottawa high tech engineers. What do we say in a landing page that if I'm that engineer that you want in that room, and you just described them a little bit earlier, they husband and wife, they've paid off their mortgage and now they have catch up, right? Like, what does that sound like in the landing page? If I'm that engineer or that high tech employee, when I read that, to say, hey, that's me. I would work with you on that. You don't have to come up with it now, but not just withstanding the data and the behavioral stuff that we follow and that we track, but in that landing page, I love it. The physics, the PNG, all of that stuff you've got. What's important for that group of people? Like, if you had to put a couple of bullets in something, what would it say and would it catch their attention? Think of that.
Yeah, I'll think about that.
Think of that. You're an expert in that space. I'm telling you, if you noodle this for 48 hours, you probably got 2 bullets that if you were Flip, you go back to this engineering and physics, and you're working in that world. Wow, that is me to a T. I've got to go learn more. So we can use the landing page, and that's easy to tweak. I'm tweaking it for several non-IG clients. But they're saying, hey, I want this. I'd like to go this and there. I got a client in Saskatoon that wants to go after farmers that are selling their land, their farm for millions.
Yeah, I would do that if I was there.
Well, because hey, I ran a rural district. I know what agriculture is about. And farming operations, the family, they're not going to kids. The kids are going off to the Ottawas and the Vancouvers and the Torontos for work. They don't want the farm. This one client that I'm going to be working with told me, said, I just landed a $4 million client who had $25,000 saved on paper. But now they got $4 million because they just sold their farm to a larger operation, and land around Saskatoon and in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, some real solid, good crop areas, that soil, all that stuff are huge money. Huge money. So we're going to speak to, and I said to him, I said, what do we say? What do you put in there that if I'm one of those farmers that's on the verge of selling, it might not be tomorrow, might not be 6 months, might be next year, what grabs my attention? And I say it this way, how do you speak to that audience to gain their attention that they want to read more and come? So I'll leave that with you. You noodle that over. Doesn't have to be a paragraph. You know what the landing page looks like. Key things to consider if we target this professional group. Well, let me put it this way. Still a bit of a retirement slant on it because we know that's going to get them there, but other things to consider would be on that page. And now we start seeing those people that are in this space. They read that, wow, that is absolutely me.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that.
All right. Okay. You gave me all the numbers. So you also wove into your experience about what you did differently. Now let me just open up in engaging the audience at the beginning. We had a pre-brief. We talked about some things, the story, all of that. Did it work well for you? Did you get a sense of engagement? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good. Mm-hmm. And did you, how about the retirement checklist?
Yeah, I used your idea there. I changed it.
Okay.
Just to suit me a bit, but I did get people to bring out the checklist to just put them to work,
Perfect. Good.
right? Just to wake them up.
Yep. Awesome.
No other purpose for it, really.
Okay. Yeah. But again, as I said, I tried to pass on what I learned from another advisor. It worked well for him.
No, I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just, rather than going straight into presentation. If you, and again, I'm listening to some of the things you said, you made suggestions. I caught in there that if somebody else was going to go up there and do it, another colleague, some suggestions about the close. And I was making notes as you were talking here. I think you actually specifically said the hard ass close. Yeah. 2 different closes, the hard ass and the softer one. So I will take that as, if you had to, advise or consult with a colleague what they might do, this is what they might do is, you can look at a harder close, you can look at a softer close. How do you position getting, people to act and want what you have to offer, even if it's that initial meeting, to show that you are much different than what they're currently getting at their, and I'll just use bank because, I came from a bank and they got lots of clients, but they're not necessarily doing it better in some cases, depending on where that client is. I'll give you an example, and you probably know this. That high-tech person that you just described could be sitting, and I can only speak from my CIBC days, could be sitting in what was called CIBC retail banking. They could be. Because their investable assets just may not be, at an imperial service level, but yet they need the help of an advisor. So here they are in front of a personal banker who's more focused on credit, and they know they need help. They haven't met an advisor on the wealth side yet, but they see a seminar, they get attracted, they talk to the neighbor, they talk to somebody else. Oh, I'm working with this independent advisor. He or she is doing wow, I'm not getting that. Can you refer me in, or I'm going to attend this seminar? So that's happening, right? And so the description of what you do, and this is maybe, and I'll use your term, softer. This is the softer positioning of what you do to set yourself apart. I've always used this term in my career, differentiation, right? There's lots of people out there that do what you do, but what is that one or two things that you do differently that set yourself apart? And that's what we're providing, is this forum of all of these clients to say, I do something differently. And how you would describe it. Everybody's going to describe it differently. You started to explain that this is where I come from. I understand this space. I know what they need. And if I work with these people, I know I'm going to put them on a path of great success in positioning them for a wonderful retirement. Whatever it might be, right? That's what's different. It's an opportunity to describe the difference, because you take it in retail, you take this grocery store, that grocery store. Well, why do you shop there versus here? Someone will tell you. People don't go to Superstore because they got to bag their own groceries. They don't get people smiling, right? But they go over here and they know they might pay a little bit more, and it's all about value, right? People will pay for value. So what you positioned and how you did it, if it's softer, it's just that whole differentiation piece. So I kind of caught some of that in there, that if somebody else was doing it, or I might suggest in what you said as I was making notes here, you said here in the pre-calls, add the area where they live. I like that tip. If you don't give me this, at least let me know where you live. Go ahead.
Oh, I do want to, one person, this is for you.
Okay.
One person said that they received a confirmation phone call. Now, do you guys do confirmation calls?
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. He didn't like it.
Oh, he didn't?
Right? Yeah. He said actually it sounded pretty unprofessional. Now, we only had one person say this. One. But one person said, yeah, if they said it was a great seminar, but they said if they had to rate it all on the confirmation call, I forget the exact words, but it wasn't good, right? And apparently it was, now I don't know if the folks are doing it, or like it was one of these hello and then dead space, and then just, and finally the person sort of speaks up or whatever, and then he just viewed it as, he just thought it was a pretty unprofessional confirmation call.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we continue to talk because that's important for me, and I give that right to David, our tech team. And I'm not going to say I'm overly familiar on how that process works. An email confirmation is pretty straightforward. I just know that we have a warm body calling them, and this is direct feedback that I will give. I don't care if it's just one; it's feedback. Right.
Right.
One voiced it. Others may have the same feeling but didn't voice it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Right. Okay.
Fair enough. So anyway, that's for you there.
Okay. All right. So if you had to, all in, Mark, all in, to put you on the spot, don't, I know this won't make you feel uncomfortable, but all in, 1 to 5, Gustin, Quon, me, all that we did for you, where would you put us on that scale?
Well, I would say at least a 4, and that's only because I hesitate to give a 5. I just going to throw that out there. I just want to leave room for, I guess, let's put it this way. That would be it. Like the 5, it would come up to the 5 depending on tweakability, right? Like if I can really tune this sucker to get into my absolute perfect client, ideal client world, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but still saving, and their tech and their that would be the difference maker. So very good, fantastic, actually, way better in the old way, and now I'm just looking for more.
No, that's good. And I'll say I'm much like you. It's tough for me to rate the top, but I like how I've often flipped a question where, okay, hey, thanks. I mean, that's awesome. What do we need to do to get a 5? You beat me by saying I would go here if you did this, but if I left it open, I might say, okay, Mark, that's wonderful. I'm happy you rated us at that. But what do we need to do to get to a 5? You just told me.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome. I like that.
All right.
I like that. Any parting thoughts?
No, actually, I don't know what happens if I book. So I'm not trying to cut. I hope I didn't just cut you off. You're still there somewhere?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm just checking. I want to do another one.
Okay.
And what's that? I think the target would be around, I mean, do you have any suggestions as to a date? If I'm thinking January.
Yeah, I've got a lot up in January. I have some, I mean, we'll do it anytime. I'll just be honest with you, but I have some that just because of the timing of the year, they seem to like this February because you and I both know what it's associated with, although people are investing into their retirement
right.
monthly. I mean, the whole RSP rush, I mean, those days are gone. But it's, the banks, I can tell you, will still be putting up. They're probably up already, or not. They wouldn't be up just yet. But to turn of the new year, you're going to see lots of advertising on RSPs. But you also know what else is out there. You've seen papers written on it. Chief economist at CIBC wrote one, RSP versus TFSA. Pros and cons to both.
Right.
So they're thinking that this would be, because everybody's thinking about it. It's just always that time of year, given what we did years ago about, God, I remember working till midnight one night at the bank, taking RSP deposits. Well, those days are gone. But we were open till midnight. I'm not kidding you. We were. And somebody came in at 11:50 to say they just wanted to do it and see if it, but that's gone. But as far as the thoughts of what's happening, that's a good time to think about, hey, you got to put your, top up, whatever it is. Maybe that's, whether it's January, February, we're open to both. I certainly would like to see how far I can stretch the customization. I'll commit that to you. Given your the niche space that you work in and that you have background in, I think you can be very helpful to that group of people. And because we're already connected, I'd love to see this work.
Yeah. Okay. What about the 20? And just what I'm wondering about is this also is the specific date. Is there anything
Well,
like you don't want to do?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let me
You
go.
first.
What I'll say is, you know that we're 30 days to launch. Call it 4 weeks, right?
Right.
That's the seminar campaign time. I want to commit to that come hell or high water. So
Right.
and I'm starting to map it out like this because you've got some customizations that we want to see if we can work it. I would say we would want that to be ready 5 weeks before your seminar. So that
Okay.
is, we're 5 weeks out. Number one, we got the venue booked. So we got to say, you know what? The venue is rock solid. It's booked. Great. But as far as any little tweaks, what may have to go back and forth, you want to put a couple of bullet points on a landing page. We want to change some things in the background. I'd want to know that that's all ready to go at the 5 weeks out, where now we're just sitting. And that means you seeing the landing page or providing us some input, that's just sitting now waiting for that 4 weeks to launch, rather than in that final week still going back and forth. And do we have it? Because what we run the risk of, Mark, is launching at 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I just don't want to run into that. I mean, I'm confident we can still do it in 3, given the population we're working with, but I'd rather not go there. I'd rather say, you know what? I launched this campaign 30 days out. So work it backwards from that to say, okay, well, if you're thinking the
25th of January.
25th of January, that puts us the 25th of, that puts us a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of, which, guess what, is not very far away when you look at it in that sense, right? 25th, you add 7 off of that, you're now the 18th. So we're saying, we need to be ready December 18th, and it's December 4th.
Right.
That's how quick it can come up on us, right? But it's doable.
All right. By Monday, I'll add a few. I'm not sure is my landing page still up if I go to that link?
Can you pull it up right now? It should still be live. I have it to send to you, but if you've got it right there, go for it. It should be live. I'm sending out some other IG landing pages that are, because the other thing I'm pointing out is the contact right where they sign up. There's that blurb there that covers you for the do not call list. And then there's a privacy link that talks all about how the data is stored. So I shared that last week in a seminar ran a while ago. So I'm thinking yours should still be live.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up one here just to.
You're still there. I'm just waiting right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up one that. Yeah, I've got.
It's funny. It actually says it's still open.
Oh, really? Eh? Okay. See, so I'm pulling up one here that one of your colleagues is running in Abbotsford. So it's a pretty standard main topics. So you see that in kind of that bluish box that's got shadowing around it, main topics. Why register? Is there something in there that you feel? Critical points to ponder. Is there a bullet in there too?
Oh, I see.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm kind of, is this course for you? We're working with a certain amount of space. So depending on what you say, something might have to come out. But is it in the main topics? Is it why register? Or is it critical points to ponder? How do we speak to that professional in the high-tech engineering space? What's important to them? And things that they're facing, that they're facing every day, that if you put it out there, they're going to go, wow, that's me.
So, yeah. Now I have another question. So if that landing page, that's not what they see. If somebody's sitting on Facebook, they actually don't they have to click something to go to the landing page, right?
They click an ad. And did you see the ad?
I never saw the ad.
Okay, so while the ad is pretty standard, there isn't much on there, but here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send it to you, okay? So this is...
Thank you, yeah.
This is, I've got a copy of one right here.
Okay, so if you send me the ad, then I'll also see if if maybe the ad can be tweaked as well.
Well, we're going to look at this right now. We still got some time on the phone. I've got all this stuff in a folder so I can access it easy. There it is, IG. Yep. Hold on, I'm just attaching it right now. IG add. Okay, here it comes, Mark.
Okay.
Yep, it's on its way.
Okay, there it is.
Yep.
Okay, that's clever.
Now, some other ones we've used. Is my advisor here in Winnipeg ran one. I saw this. It was coming up in my feed, which is perfect because it's working. I should be targeted. And the other one we were using for his campaign, it looked like it was a presenter presenting to, kind of those tiered auditorium classrooms in universities. And the picture was taken from side of the podium, presenting, again, giving it that learning appeal. So we had that also running with this. But, again, are you confident approaching retirement? If you think so, this is what they see first, right?
Okay.
Personally, I don't like protect your nest egg. I don't know, it just seems, I get it, but nest egg.
If not right now, but if you have a couple of examples, actually, I'll go through them.
Okay.
And do some things up to you. And then, and we'll look at the landing page as well. So that's cool.
Yeah. So my commitment to you is to, we want to do a few little bit of tweaks. I almost look at it this way. You have this niche specialty as an IG advisor under the umbrella of IG. We're working with you nationally. I would expect, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn on this. I would expect that IG would recognize something like that and say, you know what, Mark is different because Mark does have this. And if Mark, working under our umbrella, can grab that crowd, that clientele out his back door, better for him, better for us.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's going to have this this space. My team of advisors in my old life, I had some that were better in other areas than other, and I would direct clients, you know what, you want to deal with Mark versus Jennifer. Mark will bring this to the table for you. Jennifer, great advisor, but I think you'll find Mark is a better fit because I'm thinking about what the level they're talking on. So I don't see a problem with this. It's not a radical change. It's just a couple of bullets in Canada that you want to get to.
Right.
Okay. So that's my commitment to you.
Okay, very good. So I'll figure that out. And yeah, like I said, if you have one or two other ads, fire them off. Clint and I will both look at them and suggest. We'll suggest tweaks at the ad level and tweaks at the landing page level.
Okay.
And I'll have to think about the age.
Okay. Yeah. Give some thought.
Because right now we said we're 45 to 65.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay.
Yeah. We can easily change that. So again, if we're working off the 25th of January, I kind of backed it up. So the 18th is kind of our make sure we have all in a row, and then we just kind of sit before we throw it up and launch it. That's kind of the timing. If we're going to be doing some back and forth between the 4th now, well, that's basically 2 weeks. So that we say, you know what, I get from you, Colin, I love it, I share it, everybody is agreement with it, the 18th, and now it's just Sean. As far as his ticker goes, it kind of comes up, right? I'll say, okay, there's Mark's. All right, that's got to go up this day. There's no back and forth happening a day or two before we launch. I just want to be in that position.
Right. Very good.
All right. Well, listen,
Perfect.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the little bit of wiggle room you gave me at the beginning, and happy to finally meet you face to face.
All right. Very good.
Okay, we'll talk soon, Mark.
Right. All the best, Colin. Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.